Good evening and welcome to the August 12th, 2021 meeting of the Planning Board. In pursuant to the Governor's June 16, 2021 Act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law GLC 30A, paragraph 20, the Planning Board will be using remote participation for this meeting. The audio of this meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the town's webpage within 24 hours within accordance, keeping the public informed of actions of this meeting. I would ask all the participants remotely attending this meeting during the time with which they are asked to speak to please state your name for the identification purposes each time you speak throughout the meeting. At this time, I will take a roll call. David Thorne.
Here, present.
Jason Santos.
Present.
Scott Ferkler.
Scott Ferkler, present.
Barbara Peedy.
Here.
Karen Apuzzo-Langton, here. And Warren, are you here at, what are we doing with Warren? Not yet. Karen?
Well, I guess I'm still the representative to the collaborative.
All right, so Warren Chamberlain,
Yes, from 16 Roy Avenue. Yeah.
thank you. This evening, we have an agenda that includes minutes that we will approve. We will discuss approval not required subdivisions. We have a continued site plan for Marshall Street. And we have an update from the Long Range Planning Committee. And then we have a public hearing that can begin no earlier than 7:15. And that is a definitive subdivision application, Eagle Path. And then a public hearing that can begin no earlier than 7:30, which is a special permit modification for Walsh Brothers Building Company, and that is Hollis Hills. So everyone knows the order with which we're going to be proceeding, and the board will start with general business. So the first piece of general business that I'm going to ask for us to look at is the approval of the minutes from July 29th, 2021. I'm assuming you've had time to eyeball that and then to go through and look at the decision based on everything that we had already discussed that has been signed and that has been stamped into the town clerk. Correct, Karen?
Just to clarify, what's attached to the minutes is the draft that you got in your packets. That was the discussion piece, that's not the
Not the
finalized.
finished, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 29th.
I have a first, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I would second it.
Okay. We'll do roll call. Jason?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Dave?
David, I.
Scott?
Scott, aye.
And Karen? Aye. All right. The second thing that we typically go through, approval not required subdivision. Karen, what do we have there?
George Fisk is with you this evening. You have a single lot on Fisk Pond Road. It's within the subdivision. And this plan is just clarifying a land transfer that was done a number of years ago, but it's within the subdivision and it is a building lot that is vacant. And I'm assuming that Mr. Fisk is either selling it or getting ready to build on it.
Mr. Fisk, would you like to give us a brief presentation? You're muted, sir.
Am I still muted?
No, no, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm missing my glasses, so I'm having trouble reading the screen and what I need to do. But anyway, this is lot 12 on a 15 lot subdivision that was approved by the the town planning board many, many years ago. And of the 15 lots, 11 have been built upon. And so I have 4 lots left on what's we think of as cul-de-sac number 4. And this lot, number 12, is the first one which I am planning on selling. To this point, the only real difference in what I'm doing from what I've done in the past is that I am not going to be building the houses. My plan is to sell the lots, but to sell the lots with very strict conditions, which will over which I have a fair amount of control, so that the design, I want very much the design of the next 4 houses to be compatible with the houses that are there. And anyway, I do have a buyer for lot 12, and who has asked that I submit this A&R lot to you. And what's happened is when I owned lot 11, or I sold lot 11, I actually sold to my daughter who had a house there for several years. And I transferred a small portion of lot 12 over to her because it was a piece that really had no benefit to lot 12 and had much more prospective benefit for lot 11. I've got my glasses, thank you. And so I took a portion of that lot 12, which was a land courted piece, and transferred it over to lot 11. And what you have before you is a plan which recognizes the remaining land with that parcel. So I'm simply asking to bring this before you. It is an A&R lot, as are the other 3 lots, which I suspect in some point in the not too distant future, I'll be selling as well.
Board members, do you have any questions? Do you all know where we are? Is it clear where we're talking about? This
You mean,
is,
where's the parcel located?
well,
It's-
I think some people might not even know where the subdivision is located. So, right, we're down all the way down Fisk, headed into Sherborne. It's pretty much the last neighborhood before you come into head into Sherborne. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Fisk Pond Road was put in, and it was an accepted road back, I'm guessing, in the mid 1980s. And there are 4 cul-de-sacs off of Fisk Pond Road, and this is the last cul-de-sac. There are no houses there at this point.
And I'm assuming because it was already set up, right? Everything's all set because it was already approved. So
yeah.
does anybody have any questions in regard to this parcel and its transference to a person to build on?
No.
Yeah. So would someone like to make a motion then, if it seems like we have no questions? Karen, is there something we should be thinking about or something that you would like us to know before we move forward?
Nothing from me other than you're empowering someone to sign a plan that's over at Town Hall.
Can we empower you? Okay.
I would like to make a motion to accept this.
And would you like to empower Karen to sign it?
Yes, I would like to empower Karen to sign that.
Do you have
Second,
a second? Okay, roll call. David,
David, I.
Barbara,
Aye.
Jason,
aye.
Scott,
Scott, aye.
Karen Langton, aye. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fisk.
Thank you very much for letting me join your meeting tonight. I appreciate your support, and thank you very much, and I'll sign off.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is the SCS Marshall Street large solar plan. So do we want to hop into that? I think we have in our packets some information. With a Mr. Clapp, the conservation agent, has, I guess, had asked a bunch of questions, and those have been responded to. We can see the original application as part of our packet. We see the DEP forms. And I think that we've done a lot of conversation, and Jason, I think that you also have worked a little bit on this as well. Is that true?
Yeah, the only question that I had, and I think Tina, I think this was back with the select board and Tina answered it, was just to add some screening trees, some evergreens along the roadway to block. I think there's a container that's going to store the batteries, going off memory here, and the driveway. And so but I think that was added to the plan.
I don't exactly see where it's added. Do you see it?
No.
Hi, this is Ariel Davidson with TRC. It should be shown on the second site plan. We've proposed a line of the 6-foot tall green giant vegetation that was recommended or an approved equal, and it's on the northern side of the proposed access road.
That is correct. Yep. How many? I'm just curious. Do you know offhand?
So we have a row of about, I think that's 8 of them proposed, but again, I think we're gonna recommend that a qualified landscape professional do the final design just to make sure it provides an adequate visual barrier.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think the only other thing was we had a lot of conversation around specifying for heavy trucking what the route would be that these trucks would be traveling on. And I think that, Karen, you identified that that would be going through the planning department and the building department when things get set. Is that right?
I think I snuck it in with the pre-construction language under special conditions.
So will there be something more specifically spelled out at that time? I think that when it comes to this, specificity has always been
I think the real
more
concern,
benefit.
yeah, it was the big concern was for really large vehicles. And so I think that when it gets spit out and they figure out what the routes are and how many trucks are coming, then they would be able to specify. So I think that's what you'll see in the future.
Okay, so they will present a plan at that time,
Yes.
right? But that would be part of what our condition is, that they are required to present a plan at that time.
You're nodding, right, Rennie?
Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
okay.
All right. Board members, questions? I mean, I think as far as I remember, we really kind of hashed this out the last time. It got bounced back to the select board because we had additional questions about the cap, and it seems as though the select board handled that along with Ryan Clapp, if my memory serves me correctly, and from what I've read. So from what I read, it seems like from my perspective, what we asked to be done has been done. if anyone else has another recollection.
I'm good.
It looks fine.
Karen Sherman, am I accurate on that?
Think so. And so, I mean, part of the delay was the stormwater review and getting back through the Concom, there were some delays on both ends, but I think that all the stormwater issues have been resolved. So this is a dual permit on your part. So it's a stormwater permit and a site plan review.
I think the only thing that I consistently have a question about when I drive around Holliston is that projects start and then they continue on for months at a time. And periodically I notice that the erosion control mechanisms get knocked down and they stay that way. What can we do to make sure that those are always in place and they are performing the task that they're supposed to?
So during construction, we're going to have a professional on site at least once a week to inspect the stormwater and erosion controls. And they're going to make notes of anything that is not in place as it should be. So those will be constantly inspected and reports will follow up with those inspections saying what corrective actions need to take place.
And those reports can go directly to Karen Sherman so that she can forward them to the board.
Yeah, definitely. As long as Rennie's okay with that.
Okay,
Fine by me, yeah.
Okay.
all right. Anyone else?
I guess if I may,
Please.
I guess the only thing I would mention is trees. I know that's sort of an issue. And I'm sorry I stepped out of the room for a minute, but I was going to mention trees. I know we've had some problems in the past with trees being cut down after the fact because sunlight and things like that. I just want to make sure that that's not happening anywhere that it's not supposed to. And again, I'm just mentioning we've had things in the past at different sites. So I'm assuming the trees are something that have been all mapped out and in terms of trees that have to come down, if there are any. I know there are at the entrance.
Yeah, I can speak to that. For the record, Rennie Friedman, Director of Project Development at Sol System, and we're the applicant and the solar developer for this project. So you're exactly correct. The only tree clearing that needs to be done for this project is right by the entrance. That's where the equipment pad will be going. So that's why we do need to clear a little bit of trees there. That was, all the trees have been mapped, and that was approved as part of the NOI that got approved by Concom. The nice thing about this project from a solar standpoint is that because it's going on top of the cap landfill, the top of the landfill is actually relatively high when you compare it to where the trees are that are in the neighboring areas. So we don't need to clear or trim any trees from a purely solar standpoint. On some other projects, I can certainly see what you'd be saying, but again, because it's on top of a cap landfill, the top of the landfill is actually pretty high as it is.
Right. Oh, okay. And I've forgotten, I was looking through the paperwork, the type of system you're drilling down, you're using the, and forget me if I'm sorry that I've forgotten the name of it, but you drill down in with is that the type of system? You're not using concrete pads?
No, we
are you using
are
concrete?
using concrete pads.
Oh, you
Yeah.
are?
So
Okay.
yeah, that's a very key point. So because it is going on top of a closed and cap landfill,
You
you don't
can't
want to
drill anything
penetrate
down.
the
Oh,
cap.
okay. Okay, great. Okay. All right. I just wanted to, I remember talking about that, but okay. Great. Terrific. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Board members, anyone else? Are we ready to let this project go. So if so, can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve. So motion to approve, what is it, 280 and 150 Marshall Street, SCS Marshall Solar. I probably butchered that, but you know what I'm talking about.
And I think you have to do both the site plan and the stormwater.
For both the site plan and the stormwater.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, roll call. Jason,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Barbara,
Aye.
David,
I,
Karen, I. So that passes and we move on.
Thank you very
Um,
much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on our general business is an update on the Long Range Planning Committee. Since all of us are going to be on, whether we start the hearings now or later, would you be okay to begin starting the hearings, and we will hear that update at the end, board?
Sure.
Board, before we begin public hearing, is there any sort of a timeline you want to consider for this evening?
let's see.
I would
No?
say yes.
Okay, what would you like to consider?
I don't know.
It's 7:30-ish, give or take 7 minutes.
What do you think we need, Karen? An hour? Half an hour?
Well, Karen Sherman told me another board did two, two public hearings in an hour. So she's challenged me
Perfect.
to keep it slim. So how
I
about if we
would
go
think-
for that? We can
I
always.
would think
extend.
8:30 sounds reasonable.
Okay, so for those of you who are new to the call, the way we would like to proceed with this is when we open the public hearing for the project, the person who is the applicant will give us an overview of what it is that they are presenting and what it is that they want to do. Then the board will ask questions of the applicant directly. And after the board has finished with the questions that they have at that time, then we will open it up to the public to be able to ask questions. I'm going to ask that we do this in an efficient manner. I'm going to ask that if you have a question, that you will use the actions at the bottom of your page, and one of them is raise hand, that you will raise your hand. And I'm going to ask that when you are called on, you will use that time to say everything that you need to say, and you will have that one shot to do so. If you have a specific question that can be answered and it doesn't turn into a back and forth kind of situation, then it'll be answered. If we have lots of questions, then I would suggest the applicant write down the questions, and this would then probably get continued and they can answer all those questions at the next hearing. I think it's the most efficient manner for us to proceed, with everybody being heard and everybody being able to work collegially. Okay, sound good?
Yep.
So I am asking then that it is, lost my clock here for some reason. It is 7:25, and I would like to open the public hearing for the definitive subdivision application, Eagle Path LLC, 0 Prospect Street. Though the presenters that are on the call, could they please identify themselves so we know who they are? You're going to need to unmute in order to do that.
Again, Robert Duff, using my wife's computer, that's why the name. Anyway, I'm with Gary and Halon. I'm here for the project Eagle Path.
Is anyone else with you, Robert?
I don't believe the owner himself is here, John Hosparian.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Bob, I'm here. John Hovsepian.
Sorry, John.
Hi,
No
John.
worries. How you doing?
Okay. Gentlemen, do you think that you can keep a presentation between 7 and 10 minutes?
Yes, should be able.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Right, well, we, again, back in front of the board, we had a previous meeting. This project, to quickly recap, is a small 4-lot subdivision off Prospect Street. We will be having town water, on-site septic systems. We got about a 450-foot cul-de-sac road coming into the project. We have an initial review from CMG. We are in the process, we are going to send revised plans in to the board next week, addressing their concerns in their letter that they wrote. We are filing conservation too. That will be going in next week. COMCOM. The work includes working within the 100-foot buffer zone of a isolated land subject to flooding in the front left of the project, and a small wetlands that is on the abutters property in the left right rear of the property. So the only thing I want to mention is this time we have requested 4 waivers for this project. Karen talked about her in her letter. So that's it in a quick nutshell. At this time, I turn it back over to the chairperson.
Okay, board members, I don't know if you've had a chance to run through and take a look. We are on Prospect Street in Holliston. I think the locus gives a good indicator of where we're going. You could definitely Google Earth it if you want to have like an aerial shot of where this is. But it seems to be a long cul-de-sac that then has servicing 4 potential lots off this area. And thank you so much. So we can see the way this is going to be developed, right? It's pulling pretty deep off of Prospect Street and in the back. So I'm assuming that we must have abutters on this call because there are a number of them. But first, I think, board, I'd like to focus on the subdivision in and of itself and the waivers that are being asked for. So can you see the document from the engineer that's asking for 4 very specific waivers? And I also believe that our,
They're on the cover sheet, the waivers, ma'am.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
do you have them? They're dated April 29th.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
I do have a question about why not do the curbing correctly now? I mean, I just, the fact that Mudville is being upgraded to have concrete curbs along with the storm drain business, but it would seem to me that why not do it right in the first place?
So, Barbara, I mean, that's what they're asking us, right? Will we grant them the opportunity to substitute a Cape Cod berm for a granite curb? And I feel the same way that you do. The town is spending a lot of money now going back through and switching out to granite curbs, and it is our bylaw, and they're asking for a waiver. We have every right now to not do that. That's what they're asking for.
Right.
And it's a waiver. They're asking for a special permission, and we have the right to say no to that. So that's one of the things, right?
Mhm.
Then the other are shade trees, right? Where they're asking to install 10 instead of 20. I don't know, the first thing that goes through my mind is, the planet's burning up. Should we allow it to burn up faster, or should we stick with the required amount of trees that we want? And
Right.
and also even reflecting back to an earlier master plan, one of the things that residents in this town want are tree-lined streets.
Aaron,
So-
I would just kind of piggybacking on what Barbara and you were just finishing up with. I mean, I would say, I'm just now reading 1 through 4. The top 3, I am not inclined to be in favor of allowing any of those waivers, 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, the applicant requests to construct a conventional subdivision instead of a open space residential development. Help me out. Maybe this is a Karen Sherman. What's the difference between those?
Yeah, Karen Sherman, we do go through this a lot and we still seem to be so fuzzy on this. So if you could give us like the Reader's Digest version of that, that'd be great.
Sure. So open space residential development actually is allowed by right under the zoning bylaw. So this is a zoning waiver. So you're noticing that the section numbers are a little different. This is a section of the zoning bylaw. And it's been in place since 2007. And it's sort of a mandate. And so the basics are that 50% of the land area would be dedicated for protected open space. It allows the developer to reduce the size of the lots, the amount of frontage, and then it takes away some of the other dimensional requirements from conventional zoning. There is a waiver provision in there under section 2B. And the board would need to make a finding under the bylaw. And you could use a bunch of methods to do that. I provided in my memo some of the math about the surrounding lots and the density of the area. And I think that Ryan mentioned in his memo that there is an adjacent open space parcel. But again, unless you saw a comparison of designs, you really wouldn't know offhand. And you may have a neighborhood who would prefer larger lots. Then again, they might prefer open space. So it's a little different than the other waivers under the design regulations of the subdivision regs. It's a zoning issue.
So we wouldn't be voting on this. This is not in our jurisdiction.
It is in your jurisdiction, absolutely.
I think what I'm hearing, and although we're not ready to go there yet, but we might want to consider when the neighborhood speaks to ask them that. Would they prefer larger lots for the houses, or would they prefer open space? And then is that open space, I guess my question is that actually usable? Not all open space tends to be usable.
Madam Chairman, if I could speak on that quickly.
Please.
Yeah, I inherited this project from when I joined the company in January. Just quickly, my understanding was this had been discussed with the town and the conventional was given the green light. The reason for this is the open space. Through the open space, we could develop 6 lots. The owner is going to a conventional design with only 4 lots. So he's kind of limiting the density, the development of the parcel in that respect. The second thing is the open space would have to be up in front because due to the isolated wetlands in the left front of the property, the geometry of the lot, we'd have to bring the road in the same. We wouldn't get any really reduction in frontage because we'd have to get past those into the back to actually develop the lots. So those are the reasons, we are going in this direction. Like I said, we are forfeiting the 2 lots for the open space development. And again, we would have to put the open space up front because, that was the way it would be, because again, of the frontages and stuff, and we would not get, again, we would have to put in the same roadway because of the way things are.
So then on that lot 1, the home is going to be in the further toward the back side of that property because of your isolated wetlands up front, as I'm looking at this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then really what you're presenting to us is what Karen specifically said. You are presenting larger lot sizes because where the open space is anyway. What you would be leaving as open space would be that, but also instead of putting in 6 homes, you're putting in 4.
Correct.
I'm summarizing your statements. I don't know if I'm doing it properly. So if I have not,
No. sounded
No,
good.
that's it, essence.
okay. All right. So board, based on hearing that and based on what Karen has said, so it sounds like what essentially they're looking for then is to do I don't want to call it regular, but
Conventional. It's
See,
a
I'm-
conventional subdivision.
convention, thank you for the language, I forgot it. A conventional subdivision as opposed to an open space residential development.
Correct.
But the way I look at it is I don't know that we benefit from the other one as a town. We would have more density and open space in the very beginning
Right.
of that subdivision road. Is that what you're thinking, board members? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah,
Can I
Yeah,
just
Karen, I don't-
clarify that
Please.
I think it's a 1-for-1. So I think what Robert is saying that under conventional zoning, it could be 6. And therefore the open space could be 6. They've decided to do 4 instead, just to clarify, because the cluster does not give them any density benefit in terms of lots. It's 1-for-1.
All right, I'm still fuzzy. I'll be honest. I'm still fuzzy. What do you mean 1-for-1? Meaning that either
The
could,
bylaw requires that they design, when they design an open space development, that they do what's called a prove-it plan under conventional zoning. So each lot would have to meet and be buildable under conventional zoning. And then they would take that density and design around whatever natural resources and whatever the valuable open space was and do an OSRD. In this case, you're not seeing that exercise. And so you're not getting the benefit of that, but you are being requested to grant the waiver.
so then if I understand you correctly, which is probably why it's not clear in my head, is me seeing both side by side would be an easier way for me to understand and then make a decision. I mean,
Possibility, sure.
and it would be easier for any neighbors to be able to see the difference between the two as well, to have a more, I don't know, clear and fact-based decision-making process.
Yeah. Madam Chairman, if I interrupt, we do have a open space design. We did one. This was prior to my joining Gary and Halmon, so there is one there. I'm not sure who's seen it, but I know there is a plan showing an open space development design.
then I think we ought to see that before we talk about this item number 4.
Well, without question, again, through the chair, we're gonna have to continue this hearing because we gotta send our revisions into CMG in the town, and, we're gonna have to go through with this. So at this time, we're not asking for any vote on these waivers. We just, want to get the ball rolling, get those issues out there so people can understand what we're asking for and vote accordingly.
Okay, board, if you don't have any more questions, if someone did come onto this call in order to raise support or concerns from the neighborhood, how would you like to hear from them now?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so if you are on the call from the neighborhood and would like to speak, please raise your hand. Please remember to state your name and your address, and please tell us whether or not you are in support or whether or not you have reservations. And it looks like we have Benjamin Kraus has his hand up.
Yes, my name is Benjamin Kraus. My address is 163 Prospect Street. I show up on the plan as Toronto. I purchased the property about a year ago. In general, I am supportive of the plan, but I had the same concerns about the shading trees and the curbing. I was just curious about the rationale behind not doing the regular curbing and why the fewer trees. In terms of the conventional subdivision versus open space, I'm okay with the larger lot sizes, but I am curious to see what the side-by-side comparison would be. So in general, I'm supportive, but I'm just curious to see the comparison and why fewer trees. And that's all I had.
Madam Chairperson, if I might,
Sure.
just quickly, and this is for everybody's knowledge, the curbing was requested because the areas around the project, some that don't even have some curbing at all, is in front of Prospect Street, for example. There is a berm on the side of the project, but there's nothing on the other side. So that was what drove the bus on that one. The shade trees, we are asking for a reduction in the amount of trees. It is a wooded lot to begin with, so that was part of the reason for that too, is that there's going to be woods there already. It's not an open space farm lot or something that's all cleared out. It's not the case here. So again, that was sort of the rationality for the reduction in shade trees.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that statement, honestly. However, we're moving toward granite curbs. So you're going to drive around town and some aren't going to have and some are, but it makes, what I'm hearing from our own board is it makes little sense to allow that to continue when then it's going to be the cost of Holliston to be able to be going back in and changing those. So, you know, the resident has, I think, voiced the same concerns that the board has already voiced. And again, this is not something that's probably going to be decided on tonight, but we will make note that you have the same questions that we do. Benjamin, I'm assuming that you've had your questions stated.
Yeah, I had a quick follow-up just to clarify my concerns about the shading, the shading the trees. My property is right next to what would be the inlet, the new road. And just in terms of like headlights coming in from that curve would basically shine right into my bedroom window. So if there's something that could be done to you know, increase the shading along that, it is where the wetland is, so there's already some trees there. But that was part of what I was concerned about. And just
so Mr. Kraus, you would like to ask for something more specific on your property line to protect you from traffic lights that car lights that you haven't had in the past.
It's not clear there's going to be substantially more, but I'm just curious where this trade treat would be and what impact it would have on those headlights. But yes, that was why I had that question.
So can I assume that that's what you're asking for?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Eldridge?
Hi, I'm Tyler Aldridge. I'm at 17 Smithhurst Drive. So it's listed as Chatalian, I think. I don't know how to say it. I bought the property about a year ago. I think you could qualify my reaction to as positive overall and in support. I actually had pretty much the same comments as Benjamin. I think in general, I like the plan the way it is now, the conventional versus open space. You know, I wouldn't, you know, I don't have any concerns with the current design, but I too would be interested to see a side-by-side. Now that that's been proposed, that would be interesting to me. And then the trees, you know, just in general, you know, it'd be nice to preserve as many trees as we can. I think just a general, you know, concern for the environment. But, you know, Robert, you know, pointed out it's already a pretty wooded lot. You know, I don't have the same concerns as Benjamin about, you know, headlights and whatnot. But, But yeah, I echo the concerns of the board and Benjamin who went before me. But overall, I'm very supportive of the plan as it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Paula?
Hello. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
My name is Paula Hammett, and I'm at 201 Marked Tree Road. I have, first, with regards to the conventional plan, I think that I don't have any opposition to the conventional plan. I would like to see the two plans side by side, but I think the larger lot size and having this subdivision only 4 homes as opposed to 6 is a positive from my perspective.
Okay.
My main concern about the subdivision is related to water, drainage, and those aspects of the subdivision. I'm on a property where we are on our 3rd septic system since the home was built. I'd like to not have to install a 4th while I'm still living here in Holliston. And so I'm quite concerned about the impact of this subdivision on drainage, on anything related to my wastewater leaching field, which is in the back portion of my lot. So I wanted to know whether there had been a hydrogeologic computer model developed for this lot to show any possible impact to wastewater leaching fields on any of the abutting properties, and no flooding, because also a number of homes on the Marked Tree side have water in their basements. And so we all love seeing sump pumps pumping out water after significant rainfalls. So I'm concerned about that as well. Now I know that there is the drainage, a pond that's proposed that is on the opposite side of the subdivision, which was positive to me, but I do want to make sure that, you know, anything related to stormwater, anything related to any of the septic systems that are going to be installed, and then surface water runoff are properly being assessed. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is related to the trees. You know, this is a pretty wooded area. One of the things is that the trees have been very helpful, I think, and the vegetation have been helpful with, you know, to minimize erosion. They take in groundwater, so it helps minimize some of those potential issues as well. And so I would like to see some sort of a requirement that vegetation be maintained in the building setback areas of the subdivision, so that and that may help with other people's concerns relative to maintaining that kind of wooded feel. So those were my questions and comments.
So Barbara, excuse me, Paula, the back of your lot line there, what is back there? What kind of trees?
There are maples, there are large pines. There's also some shrubby growth as well that's just, you know, built up over the past number of years.
Robert, has anyone?
And I think that that's pretty common throughout the entire piece of through that entire wooded area.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, Robert, would it be possible to go out there and like tag what's going to be taken out so people can see what's going to happen behind them?
I suppose that could on the layout and erosion control plan. We do show the limit of clearing. We are keeping a probably a 20-foot buffer along the Paula Hammett's property, that line there to the would be west of the project. So
so those property lines along Marked Tree would be a 20-foot buffer back there?
That's what we're showing, sort of a, you know, a clearing area. You know, the building envelopes are obviously cleared out. We are showing, you know, no clearing, you know, within, like I said, 20 feet or so of the property line, and that thing kind of wraps around in the back. Like I said, if you look at the layout erosion control plan, it's clearly delineated.
Yep.
we could, if needed, go out and, flag it up, I suppose. Just so the neighbors on that side could see where the limit of clearing would be too.
So the neighbors that are on the call, would you want to meet and have somebody come through your yard to make sure that you know what's going to happen?
Yes. Yeah, I know you
Yes.
just talked about Mark's tree, but I was curious about Smithhurst as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be reasonable. Do we want to, Karen, do you want to note down who the neighbors are that want that to happen? And we can set up an opportunity between now and the next meeting for the applicant to go out and talk to these neighbors and set them at ease about what's going to be happening in their backyards.
Sure. Do you all want to walk as well?
Oh, we love to walk. I mean, I think if a couple of us do, that would be great. I don't know if everybody has to, because we could, whoever walks could report back on what they saw. How does that work, board?
I'd be happy to walk.
All right, so I pretty much, I guess everyone that has spoken, and Sally has her hand up. I imagine that she's also interested in this. And Sally, do you have something else that you want to offer?
Madam Chairperson.
Yeah.
Could I just interject again quickly? Paula brought up a question about hydrology and stuff. We are going to do on-site septic systems. We have tested the lots, all 4 of them. They all passed in terms of groundwater and perk test. We did a HydroCAD report on the project, which was submitted and reviewed by the consultant. And the basis is we're not increasing any of the flows off-site. The post-development numbers match the pre-development, so we're not going to cause any other. We're not going to raise things up with this development. So, just wanted to bring that up to the board's attention.
Okay. Sally?
Hi, I'm Sally Freeman. I live at 33 Smithhurst Drive. We are at the lower end of Smithhurst Drive, and I have the same concerns as Paula as far as water goes. We seem to have receive a lot of water when it rains, and I have small puddles in my backyard sometimes, and I just don't want it coming into my basement, and that's about it.
Okay.
And I too would like to meet with the people.
Okay.
Board.
All right. If you're not speaking, could you please mute? Somebody's really loud.
Nancy M wanted to say something.
Yeah, as soon as whatever's going on stops. Could everyone please mute? Everyone, please mute. Okay, Nancy, would you like to speak? You may unmute. It's definitely, maybe turn down your volume a little bit.
It might be the air conditioner.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, there was interference.
Thank you. So I guess again, I'm at the bottom of Smithhurst Drive. So we see a lot of water.
Nancy,
we even
again,
had FEMA out here once because of.
I just need first and last name and your address, please.
It's not working.
Oh,
No, I can hear you. I just need your first and last name and your address.
Okay, Nancy Millette.
Thank you.
M-A-I. Nancy Millette, 43 Smithhurst Drive, Hall. Obviously, sorry. But anyways, I'm just wondering about the proposed drainage. There's many stones and boulders around here. I'm not even sure if we're ledge. It's very steep slopes We have low-lying inland areas. We have a pond. We have even Quincy Place in downtown's not even that far. We have wetlands. We have a vernal pool. We have during and after rainstorms. Mark Tree has houses all letting out water from their basements. It's even on the upper part of Prospect. And then there's a stream that literally comes down my street, even down Sparrow Lane. It's like a mini river. It's amazing how much water comes down here. It is very wet down this end. I'm not even sure how the pond, when they build these houses and they have the water go away from their property, where is it going to end up? I'm worried about erosion, and I'm worried about also, I'm curious what changed when we moved in 2003. They said they couldn't build behind us because it was wetlands, and that it has failed the perking tests in the past. So I'm just wondering what changed, and it'll definitely have an effect on us. I really do believe it'll have an effect on us when they build back there, water-wise. And that's my concern. So proposed drainage is really important to me, and erosion.
Okay, so it sounds to me like we have recurring themes. We have concern about water runoff after clearing has happened with the new development. And I mean, I think we as a board do know that these are issues that have presented themselves in Holliston previously. So, I mean, I think this is something that maybe by us walking around and thinking about a little bit more, that might help us. I think the other thing is what's going to happen at the property lines, and that walk around, I think, could help resolve that. And then the last thing is that I think everyone wants to see a side by side. So I'm going to go back to the board for a minute. Board, for this evening, do you feel as you have enough information for us to be able to process more and meet again in the future on this? I think we've got some stuff to do.
Karen, I totally agree. I think that, yeah, if they could reach out to some of the abutting neighbors, discuss the privacy issues with regards to street light, vehicular lights, and also provide that side by side for the open space versus conventional. I think that'd be very, very helpful.
Okay. Mr. Eldridge, unless you have something entirely different to say that hasn't already been said, I mean, we have spoken to you this evening and your hand is up again. So.
Yeah, I have to drop off. I wasn't sure how you were going to reach us for the walk. I know I had my turn. I just need to drop off.
Yeah, that's what we're coming to right this minute. So good question. So how are we going to do this? Karen, are you going to be the go-between? Are we going to pass off a list to the developer and have them reach out to the abutters? What would be the best option?
I think if I pull you for a date, work with Robert and John Hosepian to do, to do the biggest group that we can do at the same time. And then we'll just put it out there to everyone.
Okay. Anyone have a thought process? Our next planning board meeting is September 2nd. So there's some time in and around here. So.
Do we feel like that's going to give everybody enough time to have the site walks and all that?
I'm not proposing that it happens at the next meeting. I'm just saying like that's the next. Yeah. Yeah. All right. How about this? Because we seem to be, Karen, is it possible that you do that through email so everybody can look at their calendars, come up with a couple dates, and we can make a decision that way? Then you can reach from there. Karen has the name, right, of the abutters that have expressed interest, and she will reach out to you via email as well. Sound good? Everybody? And you will get notice. It's not like we're gonna say, hey, this is happening tomorrow. Okay?
Good.
And then if that date doesn't work for you as an abutter, then we're gonna probably ask that Mr. Duff reach out to you and set something up separately, because obviously things are gonna go more smoothly when everybody has had an opportunity to speak and have their concerns heard. Sound good?
I have a little bit of concern planning for the second, because the stormwater revisions have not been submitted to CMG. I think that
Yeah, I
their
don't
review
think-
and then subsequent turnaround probably won't happen for the second.
No, I was thinking more like the 23rd, because the 16th is Yom Kippur. So I'm thinking that the meetings in September board would be the 2nd and then the 23rd. How does everybody feel about that?
That's fine.
Sure.
So can we aim for that?
Sure.
So do I have then, can I have a motion to continue to the 23rd?
I'll make a motion to continue to September 23rd for Eagle Path.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call. David,
David, I.
Barbara,
aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Karen, aye. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Thank you, abutters, for showing up. And hopefully between now and the 23rd, we'll have some more progress with conversations, and we will continue our discussion on the 23rd.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. And it looks like we are ready to move into our final public hearing, and that is, we are now beginning at 8:03 for the applicant Walsh Brothers Building Company, and we are looking at Hollis Hills Senior Residential Development. Opening the public hearing, and it looks to me like, and I'm sure that you've seen this too, that back in September of 2004, this seems to have gone through an extensive public hearing process. At that time, there was an agreement prior to a bylaw being written that this group would put aside 2 dwellings for, if you will, affordable housing. Karen has included in her notes, again, more math for how things are put together and how decisions are made. And when we went into approving a bylaw for affordable housing as part of development, there also was added to it an opportunity for a waiver to be able to donate fees, I suppose is the best way to put it, for affordable housing units to the land trust, to the housing trust. And for them to be able to utilize that for a couple of different things. What we see in our packet is that Brian Clancy has said that on initial review, he doesn't have a problem with this. However, he really would like his group to vote on it prior to having an agreement on that. I don't know if someone is on the call representing.
Yes, good evening. My name is
Hi,
John T. Walsh.
hi.
I am representing Walsh Brothers Building Company. I'm the original builder's son. I work with the company. We're a small family business. Back when this project began, I was in high school and working, building the road as a little kid. But you kind of stole my thunder on the intro. You nailed it. So we have an approved subdivision, condominiums over 55. They were approved back in 2004, and there are 32 units, 2 affordable units, And now that your bylaws have changed and we can submit buyout fees in lieu of the actual affordable units, we would like to amend our permit and offer the town the fees. Karen has the numbers.
So Karen, have we heard from the Housing Trust on this?
No, I'm assuming that once they got some feedback from you that Brian would organize a meeting.
Okay. So it seems to me that in 2004, we had a situation where you were willing to step ahead and do something with forward thinking, which was to, help out Holliston's housing goals with 2 affordable units. And now, because of the change in the bylaw, it's preferable for your development to calculate the fees and sell the 32 units at market value.
Yes, but we also believe that it's favorable for the town as well. It gives the town, us giving the money gives the town increased flexibility. You could have more units, you could get units closer to the center. The funds can be used to preserve the existing stock. I'm sure you have, problems with existing buildings all the time. Monies can be better spent through an organization that isn't taxed like we are. So you, in extent, get more units if you decide to build them yourselves. So it's better for us. With coronavirus this year, I'm sure everyone's heard the prices to build these homes have become astronomical. So in that sense, yes, it's better for us. The mathematics, make it hard for us to build these units now. But we also believe it's good for the town as well. So that is why we're here.
Okay. Board members, any thoughts?
I have a quick question. Could I just say this back in my own words? So basically what you're proposing is there's how many units? You say two units that are affordable right now?
Yes.
You basically want to lift the affordable name from those units, right? And just be able to sell them at market value in exchange for paying some type of fee to the town. Is that a correct understanding?
Yes, it's a very large fee though.
Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, I get it. Thank you.
How large? I guess I'm just curious. Is that something we know right now as we sit here? How large is large?
Karen, am I correct when I say the number is $638,000?
Yeah, something like that.
For both or one?
Something like that, for both.
For both.
Yes, because it's the delta between the cost of the sale that DHCD, the state housing agency that would approve this, it's their sales price versus the 3-year median sales price of this type of housing in Holliston. So the assessors have calculated the median sales price, and John's multiplied by 2.
Okay. All right. If no one else on the board has a question, Warren, I was coming to you anyway, because you're our liaison, and I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this. So do you all mind if Warren speaks?
Not at all.
Okay.
Hi, Warren.
Hi. My name's Warren Chamberlain. I'm on 16 Roy Avenue. And I'm also happen to be, and Dave also is a member of the Housing Trust. And we received an email from Brian the other day that he's going to be out of town. And if one of us or some of us would be able to attend this meeting tonight, at least to listen in on what the proposal is. And no, so we need to schedule a meeting. My feeling is that we will probably vote to accept it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I think it's a very good idea. When Pulte was building their units, we actually board wanted to have this happen for Pulte to give us money rather than but they decided to go ahead and have their own auction and their own lottery and everything and market it themselves. So I would say that if I could mention to speak for the rest of the board, Greg Carey was supposed to show up tonight too, but and the other members are away or something. So in all probability, I think this would be a great idea, and we would be able to use that money effectively using their other, moderate sized houses, post World War II vintage, that are starter type houses that are really probably more appropriate for a young, maybe startup couple or something. And I think we could probably effectively use that money. So as far as I can see, we would, I'm assuming that we would, and once we have our meeting, we will be able to let you know for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems to me then, right, thank you, Warren, on what Warren has to say is that we have one of two options here, right? Which would be, one is to continue this to wait for the Housing Trust to get back to us, right? Or, well, I mean, I actually think that's the only thing. It doesn't seem like we would be able to approve something with their approval, because if they don't approve it, then it's not approved. So I think it should be something that we continue. Karen, would that be your advice, that we wait till the Housing Trust has their formal meeting? And if this is something that they see as beneficial to the housing goals of Holliston, then it is something that then we would use their guidance and approve this. So,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sitting on both boards, myself, I'm planning in on this board that we're talking about too. I think I like the idea also. So I just thought I'd put that in.
So you like the idea of the town receiving that kind of money to be able to use it for the housing goals.
Yes.
All right. So are you also inclined then to think that it's something that we should continue until the board meets and has a formal vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing, special permit modification for Walsh Brothers until, do you want to do that the 23rd or?
Yeah, I think we should, because we're waiting for them to get right, for you folks to organize a meeting. So yeah, how about if we go with the 23rd? Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Is that August 23rd?
No, that would be September.
September 23rd.
In September,
Do we
we're
know
gonna
when
do-
their next? Do we know when their meeting is going to be? Like, is it already on the books, or is it? Do they have
No,
to
they're
set it up?
waiting to set it up. They're waiting to
Okay.
set it up. So,
We haven't had a meeting for quite a while, so we're about due.
okay. So,
I mean, if this is going to be, I don't know what's already on the docket for the second, but if like, I guess a question for Warren, do you think it's reasonable to have your meeting so that we can do this on the second? Because it seems like this is going to be a quick one, right? If they
Absolutely.
vote yes, then we vote yes. So I mean, is there a reason to push it out to the 23rd?
I just didn't know if people were going to be on vacation, were you going to be able to get that meeting together?
No, but I'll slip an email to the group and tell them what situation here, and so see if we can have a meeting before the 2nd. Is that what you want? The 2nd of September?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think probably John Walsh would enjoy that a little bit sooner as well. Is that
Either's
true?
fine. Either's fine for me, whatever you.
Okay.
you-
So So we'll try to have a meeting sometime between now and then and give you a decision by then.
So is that okay for us to do then, to motion to continue until September 2nd? But if something goes awry, Karen, then we can just open it and continue it to the 23rd?
Yep.
Right? So then we need a motion, we need a second, we need a vote.
Well, I'll motion that we postpone this until the 2nd.
Continue to the 2nd?
Yeah.
Continue to the 2nd. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call vote. Barbara,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Karen, aye. Okay, so we are back to, thank you everybody who came to the meeting this evening. We will see you on September 2nd to continue the public hearing for Hollis Hills Senior Residential Development. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. I think that the only thing we have left is the Comprehensive Long Range Planning Committee update.
Really very little to update you on.
Okay.
They voted for, we voted for Stacy Raffi to be the chair. Postponed voting for any the vice chair or the clerk. Not real. It was really a preliminary meeting. They're meeting tonight, which I could not attend because this is my primary goal. But I assume I will hear from them what went on, and so yeah.
Do you think that they're going to continue to choose Thursday nights as a meeting time?
No, one of the things that she did do was send out a survey to see what nights were good. I mean, I told her Wednesdays were much better for me, but and
Right, but there was somebody who was taking like a grad class on Wednesday nights, if I recall correctly. Right?
well, yeah, well, I
Yeah.
like nights, but those were the ones that were offered. I
Yeah.
obviously will not go to Thursday night meetings unless they're, on the alternate weeks from when we meet.
All right, so I mean, I guess what I'd like to do is that when we have people who are liaisons to other agencies and committees is for there to be a reporting out in the future to the board, because I think that it's important that even though you're the liaison and you're the point person, but for all of us to be able to kind of give more input to help you out, so you're not there all by yourself.
All right, no,
Right? Yeah. So not just you, but Dave's sitting on multiple things as well, right? And it's helpful for us to hear. Like, it was really nice to have Warren on the last meeting and you as well, because you sit on that, so you have a perspective that we don't have just sitting on the planning board. So if we can work toward being a little more, I don't know, open and connected to what else is going on, right? Because Dave, you're doing EDC as well, right?
Yes.
And have you had a meeting since the last time that we met?
They did meet last night, but we're trying to get me back on the board. So I will be at the next meeting.
Oh, so you had to be reappointed by the select board?
Yeah.
Okay, and that is moving forward in a positive direction?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right, and then we have you and Warren on the Housing Trust, and then Warren's on the Metropolitan Planning Council, if I have that name correctly. So is it possible that we can have Warren come maybe one time a month and report out to us? I don't think he needs to come every time.
Or I think you actually need to reappoint Warren now that you've accepted Josh's resignation.
Does Warren need to be on for that? Yeah.
Not necessarily.
So could we make a motion to reappoint him and then you reach out to him and see if he's willing to accept that? Okay. Are we interested in doing that, board?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so would someone like to make a motion?
Dave,
I'd like to make a motion.
For what? All right, so it sounds like we're making a motion to reappoint Warren to the Housing Trust and the Karen, what is it? The.
see, that's why I nominated Dave to make the motion.
What is it? Is it the Massachusetts?
Something.
You're on
You're
mute.
muted. You're still muted.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's the MAPC, it's the Metro West, a sub-region. It's the Metro West sub-region of the Regional Planning Agency.
Okay. So David made a motion. Do I have a second?
second,
Okay, roll call vote. David,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Barbara,
Aye.
Jason,
aye.
Karen, aye. I pretend it's Brady Bunch and I just like go around the squares each time in a different order. If you're wondering how it is that I call on you.
That's fine.
I don't know if we're all in the same, I don't think we're in the same order on each other's screens. So, Karen, is there anything else that we should be aware of or anything coming down the pipeline to us that you'd like to make us aware of? Anything going on?
Nope, we've tentatively scheduled a scenic road hearing for the 2nd for that subdivision off of Mill Street or North Mill Street.
Yep.
It's a stone wall removal. I think that they are processing the rest of their subdivision paperwork, which should be endorsement of the plan, endorsement of the covenant, and perhaps the surety and lot release if they get that far. Travis and I are meeting with town council about the issue of marijuana delivery and the changes to the Cannabis Commission's regulations regarding that. And so I would report back to you about whether their recommendation, and we're working with Kate. I think
Okay.
some of you know Kate from town council's office about that and what her bylaw recommendations would be.
Okay.
That would probably be your sort of your one shot at sort of special town meeting issues. And I'm assuming Fafford will be back to present its roads for road acceptance for Highlands at Holliston. And Ali and Peter Engel from McClure Associates and I will have an update for you on Constitution Village subdivision, Fafford's other subdivision.
What is a deadline for fall town meeting if we wanted to present a bylaw change?
It's about the end of September. I wrote it down, but I don't remember.
Because we would have to have enough time to have a public hearing, right?
Oh, no, you just need to submit an article to the select board, and then the select board would, if it's a zoning bylaw article, the select board has to consider it and grant permission for you to proceed because of the town bylaw is not set up to do zoning at a special town meeting. So they would have to grant permission and then they would volley it back under Chapter 48, Section 5, and you could do your normal public hearing. The warrant would need to publish mid-October.
Is it appropriate for me to float what I'm thinking or no? Because we haven't posted something.
You mean about cannabis or something else?
Something else.
Oh,
or should I send it to you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't know my facial expression. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if I'm, there was an issue last year and what I found out is there wasn't a bylaw to support the problem. but no one knew that this problem would ever arise.
Sure.
So it's something that I could absolutely see arising again.
Yep, the bylaw is a moving target, and also having the new building inspector, he has a list of markups that he would like to discuss with you at some point. So even if we don't make any of the deadlines for fall town meeting, we should definitely get to work on it. Bylaw adjustments in general. Because the May town meeting sneaks up on you every time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, so far, it seems like our September meetings aren't right now really heavy lifting.
True.
So if we could get anything in there to at least start thinking about,
Yep.
I think that would be really helpful. And even if he's interested in maybe, I don't know, doing a few at a time, just to talk to us about, I don't know, but
Yep.
I think like the one I'm thinking about, I do think is time sensitive, and the time sensitivity of it is definitely toward the end of the year.
Okay.
So,
You also have a request from town council to do an executive session on the Odessa issue on Lowland Street.
all right. Want to poll us for some dates and let's get that set up? Because that so would that be something that we have to open up as a meeting and then close it because we're going into executive session? So we could do that as its own, right?
Yep.
So, how time sensitive is that?
It's not, it's really your preference.
So it's something then that we could do on September 2nd?
If they're available, sure.
Do you want me to, board, you want to see if he's available September 2nd?
Yeah, just like open up with that, basically
Yep.
open the meeting, then close it, go into executive session, then come back.
And then, yeah, absolutely. And then come back. Yep. Kind of
Now,
like the way the select board does it.
is there any reason you can't tell us what you're thinking of, even though we're not in executive session, to give us a heads up so that we can be thinking about it?
I'm going to send it to Karen and then she can send it out appropriately.
Oh,
I just
okay.
want to think about how I'm going to word what I'm trying to say and look at the bylaw to do it.
Okay,
Because if I don't,
thanks.
yeah,
It's fine.
thank you. Yep. All right. Anyone else with anything? Jason?
No, that's fine. September 2nd, I think is fine for executive session. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Karen, you're checking for Jay for September 2nd and then doing the other part for, what was the name of the development? I've already forgot, Prospect Street to see.
Brian, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, for the site visit, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and I do think on that, even though we've continued, that drainage thing seems to be a really big issue. Is there any way to do any kind of simulation? Our 100-year storm seems to be coming more frequently.
True enough.
Yeah. So I do think it is a concern. I wonder what our 100-year storm actually is now data-wise, since our average temperatures now have changed as well. So. All right, everybody good? Anyone have anything else? Well, it is 8:30. We are on deadline.
Well done.
So do you want to hang out longer?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
There's your answer.
Second.
Oh, and of course we have to roll call. Scott, how do you feel about that? Barbara?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
David?
David, I.
Karen? Aye.